you know, if someone asked me, and you're welcome to ask me, who is my favourite hate preacher, it would hands down be Anjem Choudary, without question. There is no one better. Absolutely. You know, a lot of you are probably going, whoa, wait. What about Abu Hamza? Look, Abu Hamza looks the part, but he just hasn't got that swag, has he? I mean, you know, Abu Hamza definitely has, you know, a distinctive look that makes you think, I wonder if he's into terror. You know, I mean, obviously there was a lot of surveillance on these people for years. Could you imagine being like the MI5 agents or whoever it was who went into Abu Hamza's mosque? I can't remember which mosque it was. Was it North London Mosque? I can't remember. No, the Finsbury Park. Someone talking North London Mosque. Finsbury Park. Was it that one? I can't remember. You know, just going in and going, who do you think might be plotting terror here today? The man who looks like an evil pirate from a children's book. He's probably preaching hate. Anyway, but Anjem Choudary, you know, if you don't know who Anjem Choudary is, he's what you should do. He's high profile. Has been, you know, he's been on, you know, mainstream news outlets, you know, talking absolute lunacy. And so I'm gonna move this mic, man. Sorry about that noise there. I'm terribly sorry. You know, he's been on all sorts of mainstream outlets. He's been featured in, you know, documentaries and TV shows. You know, just talking lunacy. I first sort of discovered Anjem Choudary when I first discovered Britain First, as it goes, and Vice did a piece, sort of, you know, following there was some head-to-heads with Britain First and Anjem Choudary, and they were talking, and they were very straightforward about it. You know, that was just about when Vice started to go, like, sorry, dude. I said that was the cusp of when Vice went proper shit. So it was about 2014, and the guy that was presenting the piece was like, you know, he was like, this just seems like two extreme fringe groups just going at each other. You know, these aren't fully representative of the country. And he was right, and still is right. You know, not every Muslim is an Anjem Choudary, and despite what everyone's saying at the moment, not everybody is a fucking far right lunatic. But these were lunatics. Anjem Choudary definitely more dangerous than Britain First. Do not ever give Britain First the credit for being dangerous. That is laughable. That is why I've mocked them over the years, because they have no gravitas. Anjem Choudary, on the other hand, I mean, I've heard theories about him possibly being a double agent, you know, working for MI5. That's why he kind of was like swanning around, not getting fucking done. Possible. It's possible. But he always came across as like just a super troll. And that kind of gave me just a little bit of respect for him, just because he'd say the most outrageous things. Like this one, I swear it's Stacey Dooley, but it might not be Stacey Dooley, but they drive around in a car and he's just talking about, you know, how the Islamic Caliphate would operate in Britain. And he just looks over at Buckingham Palace and saying, well, we'd have the flag obviously draped over there and Sharia law installed. It's just the way he's talking. It's just like, I don't know if this guy fully believes everything he's saying. I don't know. I swear he's just like a massive wind-up merchant. You know? I swear. I used to think that about Tommy Robinson as well sometimes. I was like, I swear he's just a wind-up merchant. But Anjem Choudary definitely was dangerous enough, or considered dangerous enough, to be put away. But now he's back. Guess who's back? Chowdhury's back. Oh, the world is about to get spicy. You know, hate preacher Anjem Choudary. Imagine just being labelled that. That's your moniker. I am a hate preacher. Not just a hateful person. I preach hate. I preach the virtues of hate. Anyway, returns home after 6 months in a bail hostel as security services spot increased activity among some of his Islamist followers. Yet, let us not forget that it was only 2 years ago that the head of the heads of the police and the Met Police and the security services like MI5 were saying how they were underfunded and that there was 30,000 suspected Islamic extremists ready to go in the UK, and now suddenly apparently they don't exist anymore, and it's the far right that's going on, which funny enough coincidentally was parallel to the drop in terrorist attacks across Europe. So when it quietened down, they just thought it all just went away and thought, well, we need to justify our existence and justify getting more money. How can we do that? Oh yeah, white people are fucking nuts, aren't they? Yeah, okay, they're the new nutters. Can we have some money for these new nutters, please? Yes, don't think that we haven't been observing your bullshit. Okay, anyway, so increased activity. Now, obviously, this is in the Daily Mail, so it's not going to be reported in the Guardian, is it? Well, it might be. I don't know. Fucking might have a, pull-out poster of Anjem Choudary for your bedroom wall. Fuck knows. Choudary returned home to his house in East London. Oh, let's not read the breakdown. Let's just go straight into it, shall we? Look, there he is. Look at him. Look at that. He's a suave hate preacher. Hate preacher Anjem Choudary has been pictured walking the streets of London with his electronic ankle tag clearly visible under his socks. Yes. After he was released from bail hostel to return to his family home. It comes amid fears he will again pose a threat to national security, with reports that security services have noticed increased activity among his militant Islamist followers. Now, I don't know how much of a security threat he really is, but he is very open about his feelings and a supporter of, ISIS. I guess that's enough of the UK security forces to bang you up anyway, isn't it? Choudary returned to his home in East London under licence in the past fortnight, having spent close to 6 months in a bail hostel under close supervision following a release from prison. He was jailed after pledging allegiance to ISIS following a decades-long cat-and-mouse game with the authorities. Oh, and it was. The father of 5 spent 3 years of a 5.5-year sentence in prison after he was detained in 2016 under terror laws for encouragement to Muslims to join ISIS. The Choudary-led extremist group I'm sorry, this is why I just couldn't live in an Arabic-type country. I just wouldn't be able to read anything. It's like, where do you want to go? They just dropped me off at a fucking hospital thinking I was mental. Muhajir, well, them lot, alright, you can read it, was outlawed by government following the 2005 7/7 attacks on London, but it has continued to operate under a number of different images. It's amazing how in the UK we ban so many groups. Isn't it interesting? He helped radicalise some of Britain's most notorious terrorists, including London Bridge terror attacker ringleader Kuram Butt and Michael Adebolajo and Michael Adebowale. See, look, Nigerian names. Just so many vowels. It just flows off your tongue beautifully. Dyslexic. Nigeria is a dyslexic-friendly fucking country, okay? Because we can speak the shit. Same as Japan, right? Like Yakamoto, Yamaha, Nakata, Osaka, Tokyo, Adebolajo, Adebowale. He's with a guy called Mariah. So easy. Come on, guys. It's for the rest of the world. Follow suit. Anyway, he murdered Fusilier at Lee Rigby in Woolwich, South East London. That's the first time I'm hearing that, I think. I don't know that he helped radicalise. I don't know if is that accurate? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I don't come too prepared into these kind of things, so I just do it for the fucking laugh, don't I? If I was doing a more in-depth piece, I would look into that. But I encourage you to look into that. Come on, do some work for once. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. Anyway, the 52-year-old dressed in white robes. Look at his smug fucking face. He's such a cunt. Sorry. Was pictured by the Daily Telegraph yesterday smiling while out shopping for sweets and to pay off electricity bills. He said to the newspaper, "It's a lovely day," but declined to answer any questions. He will have to submit his receipts to the authorities after his assets were frozen under United Nations sanctions. Bloody hell, are you involved too? Choudhary's little boy club often targeted mixed up or vulnerable young men, as they always do, such as Brustrum Ziamani, who was brought up a Jehovah's Witness but converted to Islam after leaving his South London family home. Ziamani was radicalised in just 2 weeks before he was arrested as he wandered the streets looking for a serviceman to execute in Woolwich-style killing. He was jailed for 22 years. 2 weeks. Sorry, bro, but you got to be really weak in the head to be radicalised in 2 fucking weeks. Jesus Christ, 2 weeks. Well, it gives us hope, though, to convince someone that they love you in 2 weeks would be pretty cool. Like, stop all that fucking courting nonsense. Costs a man a fortune. Maybe I should get some tips off Choudary. Anyway, Choudhary's students and lieutenants were also among ISIS militants to wage jihad in Syria, including blah 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 blah. Right, while security services are assured Choudhary's extremist activities have decreased, it is understood that they've noticed increased activity among some of his followers, according to the Daily Telegraph. A well-placed source told the newspaper the group remains a threat to national security, but the disruptors have been very effective. Choudary is now out and back at home. He is somebody who preferred to stay in the comfort of his home in London and encourage others to go and fight. He is a coward. His are not the actions of a warrior. Alright, calling him right out. The Ministry of Justice spokesman declined to comment on his move back to the family home. The spokesman added, "Public protection is our overriding priority when deciding whether an offender should be allowed to relocate from an approved premises. This would only be permitted following a robust risk assessment, and they remain subject to close monitoring and strict license conditions, which, if breached, can see them go back to jail." Web of Hate: How Anjem Choudhary's sermons inspired a generation of homegrown terrorists and radicals. The hate-filled circle around Anjem Choudary was a breeding ground for Islamic extremism which plagued Britain in the last 2 decades. Former law student Choudary previously called for adulterers to be stoned to death and branded UK troops cowards, always hid behind his free speech rules whenever challenged by the authorities. Interesting. Hid behind his free speech rules whenever challenged by authorities. It's kind of weird how Choudary was sort of left. He wasn't. It was for a time. That's why there was those theories about him being like a double agent. Being working for MI5 or whoever. Because look at what happens to certain people for things they've done. Count Dankula makes a joke about a pug doing a Nazi salute. He gets prosecuted for that. Chowdhury's out there openly fucking saying, death to the West. Fuck Lee Rigby, or whatever the fuck he's saying. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's just walking around scot-free and other people being persecuted. Now, my theory was not it's a double standard or something, because this is going on before, everyone started getting really, let's not persecute Muslims anymore. This was in the full-fledged, fuck them, let's persecute them. Those times. So it always astonished me that, they were shutting down Britain first, sort of at the same time. Shutting down Britain first all the time. Constant. But Choudary was kind of just getting away with all kinds of shit. And that's when I didn't have in my mind thinking, there's a double standard, or they're afraid of the backlash from the Muslims, or whatever it is. I just thought, maybe he's more useful going around gobbing off, because then you can see who is around him, and maybe like what they do, like what they do with big cases against big gangs and mafia families and so forth. Investigation takes a long time, so you let them go and do what they do, but you're watching, building a case. They didn't build a very good case against him because he's out in 3 years. That's what I thought. Maybe they're just monitoring him, or maybe he was giving information. Maybe that's why he got a pass. I don't know. or maybe just, but it's hid behind free speech rules. I mean, our free speech rules are a bit fucking. They don't even make sense. They're inconsistent, that's for sure. Anyway, but the group he helped set up were linked to a series of terrorist attacks as easily influenced young men became inspired by his twisted vision of jihad. The best known as disciples of Muslim. Oh, we know this. Choudary said Adebolajo was a practicing Muslim and a family man who he was proud of after he killed Lee Rigby. Right. But he denied encouraging the killer to carry out the attack, insisting it was channeling the energy of the youth through demonstrations and processions. London Bridge attacker Karam Butt also joined one of Chowdhury's rallies, this time on College Green outside the Palace of Westminster in 2013. Right, so he was like at one of his rallies. So Adebolajo was a supporter, and he was pictured standing behind him in 2007. Okay, and Butt was pictured standing with him on College Green outside the Palace of Westminster in 2013. I mean, like that's play. You know, I always like to look at a balanced view of things. It's just like, is that enough? I mean, that's not good company to keep. It does prove that like he does attract some fucking nutters to his fucking rallies, for sure. But to say, I think, you know, it's to say he's like fully inspired them to go and do what they did is, you know, or he is responsible, his responsibility or whatever it is very, it's vague, it's subjective. It's like, you know, but obviously, you know, definitely doesn't attract a good crowd, does he? But verbally assaulted a moderate Muslim leader who had opposed Chowdhury's extremist rhetoric. Meanwhile, Mohammed Reza Haq, thought of as Chowdhury's bodyguard, disappeared from Britain in 2014. A photograph taken in Syria showed him in a balaclava and camouflage clothing, brandishing an AK-47 assault rifle. Oh, I remember this, yeah. And Choudary was like, yeah, he's just happy, he just wanted to go live in the caliphate. You know, it's right good time in the caliphate. Siddhartha Dar, who once ran Chowdhury's media operation, was also seen posing in a military-style coat and boots, brandishing an assault rifle and holding his newborn baby in Syria, labelling the picture Generation Khalifa. Aussie. Right. In December 2014, two other close associates were discovered in the back of a lorry at Dover as they tried to leave the country. Westminster attacker Khalid Massoud was also linked to Choudary through Ibrahim Anderson, an Chowdhury's group activist convicted of inviting support for ISIS in 2016. Well, that's Anjem Choudary, baby. He's back out. It's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on it. Keep an eye. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. Or he might just, well, nothing happened at all. You just stay low key, and maybe he's like, nah, fuck all this bollocks. Or, as some have predicted, there's something big on the horizon. I'm not saying it's because of Anjem Choudary, but people have been saying. But, you know, we shall see. Getting back on telly talking nonsense. I mean, that's what it is. It's just amusing to me, like the nonsense he talks. I know the complete nutters believe in what he says. But for me, I just fucking, you know, I just laugh at it. I was like, what the fuck are you on about, you loon? That's all I want. I just want to see him talking nonsense on TV again. That'd be great. I was going, where? Going, oh, shut up, would you, Choudary, you absolute loon bag. You know, that's what I'd say to him. I'd say, oh, do pipe down with your nonsense. You know what I mean? That's what you got to say to insane people. Say, oh, be quiet, take your medication, fam. Jesus. Anyway, Chowdhury's back.